Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. And as we take the journey together, I just want to remind you that I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, but I'm a mom who lives life with the spectrum. And so I told you that we would be talking to a variety of people with a variety of different situations that come into their lives. Not only has it come into their life, continues to come into their life. And guess what? The future is ahead of us as well. And today, Miss Natalie Hinkle. How are you, Natalie?
Doing great. It is so good to see you, Gina.
It has been
Congratulations on your recent on Lyric's recent graduation. I love seeing the pictures.
yes, and you have two kids that are now going into the sixth grade, Cece and Walker, correct?
That's right. Yes, they'll be middle schoolers.
Oh my gosh. It all changes in middle school from what I understand.
Yeah, we'll see. That's right. They've really enjoyed their elementary school. I'm sure they'll do well in middle school as well. But yeah, it is going to be a transition.
It's a transition. And I have to be honest with you, when I first met you, Natalie, these were my first impressions of you. Man, this girl is a beast. She's a full-time mom. She rocks a full-time job, and she's got kids that, well, need a little extra help, at least one of them anyway. And I started thinking, like I want to be her. How does she keep it all together? Like you make it seem so seamless, so easy. I don't know. Do you have help? Is it all you? What's going on there?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Gina.
I
And
do.
it's just been such a pleasure meeting you as well. And just, I hope that they get those nights at the Y back. That was
Oh,
just so much fun for Friday nights, for the adults to have a break and the kids to, get out there, play basketball, play soccer, what have you. Yeah. So I've actually got twins, and they both have some special needs. One is on the autism spectrum, Walker is. And then his twin sister, Cecilia, has some cochlear implants. So she's got some hearing issues. But as far as Walker on the autism spectrum, we were able to find it super
early.
early. Yeah. I mean, early intervention is just absolutely, I mean, there's no words for just,
It's a game changer. You have to have that in order for your kids to succeed. And I think it's a hard pill to swallow, wouldn't you say, Natalie, knowing that something's a little off with your child and you really don't want to ever swallow that pill, but like you have to in order to get them the services they need.
that's right. That's right. And from my perspective, it was sort of a bittersweet emotion because it did answer some questions about, gee, these sort of behaviors are a little odd. But then it was also, so it was confirming that there was something, that motherly instinct, that you had. And I think for Walker was at 18 months or 20 months. But at the same time, it was great. Now we've got an issue, The other thing that I'll say was really, really hard about it was just in wanting to get early intervention. And so I'm just the type that when something happens, there's some people that handle stress by avoiding, and some people handle stress by tackling and solving the problem. And I'm more of a tackle and solve the problem. So
Me too.
yeah. So I mean, I pour the energy. It gave me something to do.
Did you
You know,
walk away from your job when your kids like were young so that you could tackle some of these problems and issues?
no,
No, so you kept working straight through.
yeah, and a lot of that was to fund. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of it was to
Fund all
fund.
the therapies because nowadays insurance only covers 20 therapy sessions for speech and language, 20 OT. It's like, if somebody needs this stuff, why cap it out? Why put a limit on? I
That's
never
right.
understood that. And now most people have a $5,000 deductible or more. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm paying out all of this out of my pocket. And then wait, when I reach my deductible, then I still have to pay 20%. Oh, wait, I'm
That's
capped
right.
out. Where do we go
Oh,
from
by the
there?
way, the really great therapists aren't even in your insurance.
Oh, and
Um,
they're all booked up. Or wait, they don't have. We know you need something after school, and guess what? That's the prime time to take your kids to therapy. So guess what? There's no available slots.
yeah, and we're still struggling with that. One other thing that was just on my mind about getting the diagnosis
Yes,
that really made me think about was I think people trying to be supportive in my family,
sure.
in just our greater family. handled it very differently. One person didn't call me back for a week. Hadn't ever had anything like this. And it
Yeah.
was like, whoa. Another person in another side of the family, and I know this was coming from a place of love, Gina, but they said, well, I don't see anything wrong with him. So then there was this added pressure on me
Yeah.
that I felt like I was saying my child something was wrong, when I knew time was the essence. The clock is ticking. We need to get these 25 to 40 hours of early intervention a week. And what I really could have used at that time was a little help versus having to explain it. It really, to me, that was a really, really challenging thing to have to defend that
What the doctor
diagnosis.
said, yes. And I know families are interesting. They are a puzzle piece. You have one that's always kind of crooked and never quite fits in, and then you have another one that, oh my gosh, it has to be perfectly perfect. And so I think that's maybe why they do use the symbol of puzzle piece for autism, because nobody is perfect and everybody's different and shaped different and our minds work differently. But a family member, I remember it was a very difficult thing for me and my family to go through too. And you're right, several different reactions coming your way. And do you defend? Do you, you know, I guess curl up and just cry? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, and I know everybody was coming from their place of trying to be supportive and loving. It's also one of those things too that as far as like things go, the another thing that I think is really important, just mom to mom and moms of autism or parents of autism, especially moms, is just getting that support that you need. I think that is just so critical because there's a lot of times that it's really, really isolating.
Oh,
Um, I say that, and that's why I say those evenings at the Y were so much fun. Getting that support, whether it's whatever it is for you, to get that support, that emotional support, groups,
yeah.
whatever it is.
I think
Um,
we tend to lean on our significant others as a means of support, and they are also going through the same thing that we are going through. And it is support, but it is different when you're talking to another mom or talking to a mom who has two graduating seniors this year. What
yes.
does that life look like? I can't wait to talk to you. Like, I want to pick your brain about everything because here I am. You've got transitioning kids into sixth grade now, into middle school. I've got one in fifth grade, and we have seniors and college students. And like, what does that life look like? And so you try to pick and pull. And I understand about the support. It really is so important. And just to meet a like minded person who doesn't judge you or your kid for whatever they're doing at the moment.
Exactly. I just can't tell you how important that is because it's not easy. It's not easy with anything, but every child on the autism spectrum is very, very different. And challenges change from day to day. I've often heard the expression of a whack-a-mole, with the sensory or the issues, that one issue creeps up when another one comes. And to your point, I think that support system, it's all going to be okay.
It's all
They
going to
will
be okay.
have friends. They will do fine. They are going to be potty trained, whatever it is. But having that, because I think the challenge for moms, especially, it's natural for moms together on a playground, watching their preschoolers play, to compare different milestones, like, oh, Johnny's walking or Johnny's crawling or Johnny's this. And, I can remember it was like not even being in that game and just, we're working on eye contact.
Yeah, right. The simpler thing, like you dumb it down. I hate to say that, but you
No,
know
no,
what?
no.
You are
And
kind of dumbing it down. You like, oh my gosh, my kid isn't even rolling over yet. I've got to do this.
yeah,
I'm
and because of that, it's not that the other moms, it's just it's hard to
relate.
relate to one another because it's so different. Now, at the same
Yes.
time, Gina, when we're working on eye contact, I can't tell you how many fun staring contests we had. We had a great time with it. I'm
You
thinking of
got to make
other
it fun.
you
Everything has to be made fun. Therapies have to be made fun. Waiting a kid out has to be fun. Everything has to be fun because that's how we learn. That's
That's
when
right.
it's
And
fun
the
to
kids
learn.
don't even know they're in therapy. They are just playing, they're just having fun. I mean, it's all about just incorporating those things. I know we went to, pre-pandemic on Costco on Sundays and Saturdays, they'd have all these samples out,
Oh yeah,
right?
you can't go
You
wrong with
know,
those.
yeah, yeah. And I know at the time, Walker was working on eye contact and saying hello versus just taking one. Well, gosh darn it, we went to Costco every Saturday. So he had to say hello to every 15.
All the sample ladies. So Natalie, let's go back into I know that you had brought up a list of things that you had really wanted to touch upon on our time together today. And I really want to address all of those things. And let's see if we can't help someone else who's watching right now. What were some of those things on your list? I'm so intrigued.
Oh, thank you, Gina. Let me just look. I've got here a couple of bullets
I know
because
the family issue was a big one because it is for new
yeah,
parents who are just getting that diagnosis, how to break it to the family, how your family accepts that. The good thing here is that we live in 2022.
that's right.
There's a lot of resources out there that people can watch videos on ASD, people can watch and read and get articles on Google, and 1 in 44 kids now are on the spectrum. So when you take the snapshot, let's just say of an overall classroom, you can guarantee one of those kids is on the spectrum. And it could be yours that is on the spectrum. So just think about that moving forward. I know families was a big issue for you. And then what else?
Yeah, I think okay, early intervention. So
Yes, early intervention, sure.
we detected it 18, no, it was 22 months. I know my first reaction was what? Like when they told me, oh, you just need 25 to 40 hours of early intervention a week. I said, what?
And
And
you're
it
a
was,
working mom.
yeah. And I mean, I'm looking, we did tons. We tried all types of floor time, ABA, OT, sensory therapy, speech, music, art, all these things.
Social groups. Our
So
sons were in social group together, which was,
that's
I think, phenomenal for them at that age, that third grade age. For well, at least Lyric was in no the second or third grade, and
second.
Walker was a couple of years ahead of him, 1 or 2 years ahead of him. But that social group was really important. They learned how to um, identify others' emotions and where to go from that. Like, oh my gosh, you see a kid crying, you probably shouldn't laugh at them. You should walk up to them and say, hey, can I help you? Are you okay? Do I need to get an adult? Things like that, that other kids, just kind of do. Our kids need to be taught that.
Yeah. And what I had to was that something I really remember after I got a ton of information, but I really remember going to the Autism Speaks website
Yes.
and they have the first 100-day tool. And I found it so helpful. I'm just looking at this, like I said, I'm eager to
So,
get started. It mapped out like every week. Okay, your first 100 days, this is what you're going to do. This
yeah.
is what you're going to do week 2, week 3, week 4, to kind of get your plans together.
So I remember when we did early intervention, Natalie, we were out in Colorado and I had 3 therapists
That's
coming in
right.
almost every day for the full week. And we did this for years. Okay. And then he went off to preschool. But I couldn't work because I had to be there in the house. That's really where the best therapies are done, and I had to step away from my job. There was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I couldn't do both. I couldn't work and be away from my house while I had therapists in my house, and I didn't have the support system to come in and be with Lyric while I went to work. So, how did you manage that? Like, how did you
So
personally?
I just outsourced a lot. I mean, I say I was working, I had
Do you have a
blessings.
nanny? You had a
Yeah,
nanny?
yeah, had a full-time nanny, and
Okay.
she knew that, I mean, every minute she was working on that homework of the therapies with them or doing
Yes.
something that was intentional towards whether it's eye contact, reciprocal, what emotions are these, that social engagement. Walker had a brushing protocol, bouncing on the ball, things like that that she did. I was able to work from home. My job is pretty intense, so it wasn't like I could step away from it. So I really did need to work from home. We had some therapies that came in.
And some therapies that your nanny had to take them to.
Yeah, I mean, it was just honestly, I don't remember those first
It's a
3 years.
blur, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now it's
I
like
don't remember. I mean, I had to schedule certain things between both kids, but again, it speaks to the value of early intervention. Doing that there was
it
worth
does.
just gold.
Something I say to parents, something that was told to me, something I say now to everyone, whether they are with neurotypical children or not,
Yes,
um, you don't get the time back. So while we live in kind of a, you have to have two people working in order to make it work in your life, and hold down the house and the cars and the this, that, and the other. If one parent can step away, just for those years, you don't get any
yes,
of the time back, right? But
that's
when they're
right.
small, when they're babies, when they're hitting those milestones that everybody's talking about, and you're like, oh my God, I'm flipping out at the, skate park because my kid's not doing that yet. Um, if one can walk away and step away from their job for just a short time, and when I say short time, 2 or 3 years may seem like a billion, but it really does go by super fast, right? The days are long, the years are short.
That's
And
right.
if you can step away, that's great. What would be your best advice for parents who are working, demanding jobs like you, and then getting this diagnosis, and like, did you how did you find a nanny that could help in that realm? Did you look for
Yeah.
special therapy nannies, or
No, I mean, I seriously, it was all God.
it was
And I've got a very strong faith. And yes, yes, no, no doubt. I mean, it was all God. I originally wanted a nanny before figuring out my kids' special needs. I originally wanted a nanny that would speak Spanish to them so that they could learn Spanish.
right?
And then first found out my daughter had hearing issues. So we were learning sign language for the first year and a half because we didn't realize there was anything with Walker. We were focused on her, in
Sure.
her journey to get a cochlear implant and go through all the speech therapy that she had. So um, I just think it was really a God thing. I worked really hard. Just for me, that's a lot better for me to be able to continue working. And I think it was really, really good for me rather than to over focus
Right.
on Walker. But, everybody's path is different. Whatever works for everybody is great. But yeah, I mean, every night we were just, having fun with it, doing the therapies, but having fun with it. Right.
Right. You have to make it fun. In kind of wrapping things up a little bit, what would you like to be the biggest takeaway um, that you can kind of share with families, or
Oh
moms or dads
gosh.
or both or kids, or what would you like to what would you think?
Oh gosh, Gina, that's I mean, I just
Just
think loving your child and just being so
accepting and
ex,
teaching
ex,
acceptance
accepting.
around
Well,
the people around you who may not accept, to teach that to them.
yes, exactly. And I just think seeing the joy. A quote I love about autism is that like people with autism see the things that you don't miss, the things that you don't see, and
And
see the
see the
things that
things.
you miss. And I
Yes.
can't tell you with my son, I mean, what a gift it is to, I mean, he just the other day he said something to me about, the water lapping in the pool. Isn't that a beautiful sound?
And then you
Gina,
have to stop and think about it, and you go,
I,
it
I
actually
wouldn't have thought
is.
about it. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many examples of that. So, it's probably not what you anticipated when when you thought about having a child, and probably wasn't your vision,
Sure.
but just lean into it, enjoy it, and enjoy those moments. And also know that, look, you need a break too. It is
Yes.
not going to do child any good if you're at the end of your rope.
That's
So,
true.
so you gotta take time for yourself, take care of yourself so that you can give to them. I
I
think that's
agree.
that's the biggest thing. But then also I'd say just they're going to march to the beat of their own drum and they are going to be fine. They are going to do great. I feel like Walker is always going to amaze me.
Oh,
Um,
he will, and he'll amaze the people around him, as long as we can teach those people around acceptance And it's
Yeah.
hard to do at this age when they're young, when they're kids. I don't think you get that acceptance until you're a little bit older and wiser and have lived a little bit of life. Kids can be mean, so we have to learn how to um, channel that when kids are coming at kids on the spectrum or any other child for that matter
Yeah. I
with
mean,
a disability
anybody can be mean. And I'll say too, parents are very,
are very mean. I
yeah,
agree.
they're very, they're very scared. They've seen, like it or not, I still hear people say, oh, Rain Man. I mean,
Yeah, that's insensitive. You know, if people
but that
they
is
don't get
still, if
it.
you use the word autism, some people think that's in their mind because that's all they know. And it's just, you know,
Well,
but it,
Natalie, I can't thank you for coming on. I know that I shared with you Marcia Lindner's number. Next week, she will be joining me on the episode. And so you should definitely tune into that because you might learn things before your call with her, or if you decide to call her or not call her, you might want to call her after that. But she's a great advocate. And as we take the journey together, I love the fact that I love you, Natalie. I think you're just like truly amazing. I think you are a beast mom. I think like you go in, you're boss mom, like you just own everything that you do. And I have always been intrigued and kind of inspired by you, like from the first moment I met you. So thank you for coming on
right back at you, Gina.
and
I
sharing
just
the
love your
journey.
positivity and our friendship.
Thank you. Remember, you can like, comment, share below as we live life with the spectrum. Again, we'll see you next week. And until then, see ya.